All right, well, that was a valiant attempt to get the studio in here, but it's not answering, so I'm going to go play around a little bit in the vault, and we'll just see what happens.
Good morning, TFR.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt, and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt, and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the planet. To the show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to Space Letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. At least everybody there on YouTube, D-Live, Odyssey, and all those good places. Not the folks on Truth Frequency Radio. Unfortunately, the studio just does not want to pick up, even with the auto answer option. It is really strange. I don't know what the hell. So we shall be everywhere else, I guess. You know what that means. No commercials.
Gotta love that.
Gotta love it. 2 hours of straight Ironworx. We've got a special guest this morning hanging out with us. You know him as Awesome Austin, host of the Melodome over there on his channel. Good morning, Austin. Welcome to the Ironworx. Welcome back to the Ironworx.
What's up, fellas? Much love. Everybody in the chat, much love. Big shout outs. It's cold this morning, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Holy cow, it's cold.
32 degrees here in beautiful South Kakalaki.
Oof.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, 38. 39 now. 39 in Central Florida, so.
Now that's cold for you.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's cold.
Yeah. When that would happen, I spent a winter down in Florida. And when it got down in the 30s, man, everybody was like, what is going on here? Because it didn't happen often.
We just got a little puppy pit bull, and so the whole potty training thing's going on. And she's like, I'm not going outside to go pee. She's like trembling, just going outside just to go pee. And we're both out there shaking, and I'm like, babe, just go pee, please.
She'll get it.
Oh yeah, she's a smart one. She's already figuring it out. She's doing great. She's a beautiful dog. I'm so happy we got her. We named her Gaia after Mother Earth. She's amazing.
Nice.
That is awesome.
And those are the best. Pit bulls, they get a bad rap big time. They used to be called nanny dogs.
Right.
Because
you're right.
They were the type of dog you could leave your children home alone with them, and you would know that they would still be safe because those dogs are so protective.
Yeah.
Of their family.
That's why I'm excited I got one like her, and a female, which is even more protective for like family and children. And this pit bull's mother is that same way. She is very protective of her family. She's a great dog, so I'm really excited. I've been wanting a pit, and it just popped right in our hand, right in our lap, man. It worked out. I was like, oh yeah, definitely, and she's so pretty, and her nose has she has a black nose, but then a piece of it is red because she has like a little white mark on her snout. Oh man, she's so cute, dude.
That's awesome. Quick shout out to Zombies. They are great dogs. And they do get such a bad rap. I know there's my big dog Shibby, he's part pit. And some people
they get bad reps, but poodles are probably one of the most vicious dogs out there. And people think poodles are just the nicest dogs. They don't even know they used to be like hunting and fighting dogs.
Oh yeah, the big poodles. Yeah, we're not talking about the little toy poodles, but a big poodle. That's a
Yeah, the big poodles. Yeah.
is a beast right there.
See, I did want to give a quick shout out to Zombie Snoop and Liz the Iron Maiden, Diva Dante in chat. Thank you so much for hanging out. Special K, Callum Wilkinson hanging out with us. Who else we got going on there? There's Daz. There's Flat Fact. Allison Briscoe. Good to see you. Brian Gasco. What up, B? Good to see you there in chat. Enlightened Dawn. There's Vivi. I'm just rolling right down the list. Steve Sly, good morning. And I'm trying to not skip any. Ian, Dan Morris. I think we're getting close to it, I think. Unindoctrinated. That's a hard one to say. That's a mouthful.
Isn't it? Just be like, Ryan, what's up, bro?
But thank
you.
You
know,
guys.
I showed my dog our, because this is our third pet. We have a sugar glider and a bearded dragon. Oh my gosh. And I just got a memory picture. You know how like Facebook will show you like memories of a post like a couple years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a post yesterday from a year ago, and it was the first pictures I took of our bearded dragon, and she was like tiny in the palm of my hand, and now she goes across my whole forearm and longer. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, how cool, and how big have you gotten? Oh wow, it's so cool. And you know, I'm pulling her out yesterday to get them to know each other, and Gaia's like tilting her head. She's like, like making all these weird noises. Like, what is that in your hand, dude?
I kind of want to eat it, but I feel like
yeah,
I should.
She's like, what is this? once Atreyu started moving in my hand, because Gaia didn't think anything of it until she seen the dragon move, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute.
What's going on here?
I did want to give a shout out to Martin Haley there in chat. Want to make sure I got that in there. BCB as well. Good morning. All right. I'm trying to cover the bases for Walter because Walter's not going to be with us this morning. He's going to be having his procedures done and needed to keep his sleep schedule set. So that with some other plans and stuff that he's got going on this week, he just thought it might be best to skip this morning, which kind of worked out well because we had Austin coming in to hang out with us anyway. So rest comfortably, Walter. We've got it handled.
Big shout out to Walter. Darren Daz says, a guy at work told me the bearded dragon he has is the #1 pet for children. First I ever heard of that, but hey. And you know what? I'm going to agree with that because that was the first pet for our family. And it really does help with the responsibility and, you know, keeping their place clean and feeding them every day. And also I like to add that the bearded dragons, they don't bite. No matter what, they do not bite people. Now, if they were to bite you, it's because they think your little finger is a worm. But like, for example, she is like grabbed my baby's fingers, but it didn't even startle my baby at all. Like she just immediately would let go. Oh, that's not a worm. That's the baby's finger. You know, like they are amazing, and it's weird. She'll like come up and crawl and like cuddle up in your neck. They're not like normal lizards, man. It's very weird. She's a sweetheart. So
My
yes,
brother
they are
had
great pets.
when we were young, when I was like 4 years old, because he joined the service when I was 5, right when I was turning 5, and left home. So I was about 4 years old, and he had like 5 different, reptiles, lizards. They were all different types of lizards, and they would get loose all the time. And we had this one dog named Conan. We had Conan and Grace, after Conan the Barbarian and Grace Jones from one of those movies. I think Red Sonja. My mom was big Schwarzenegger fan in the early 80s. And they would get loose all the time, and that dog, he would be the one to find them, and he killed almost all of them. he would find those lizards and just grab and shake them. He was a little Dachshund Terrier mix, and he hopped around like a deer. My mom ended up getting rid of him because he was so hyper. Just, he would bite us all the time. He bit everybody. He was just like, he would bite his sister, Grace. We kept Grace forever. But yeah, I don't know. I just remember me finding him in the corner with the one dragon that had spikes all over it. It had like spikes going all down its backs, all down the sides. And I remember, I found that one. And I was crying my eyes out because that was my favorite.
Oh.
That's the only time I've ever been around, having lizards and stuff. My buddy had an iguana for a few weeks until he found out, when you have a mature iguana, it's not going to come up and let you hold it real quick.
Right. You have to be raised. You have to raise it.
And that thing used to whip him all the time with his tail.
Yeah.
A few weeks of that. No more. But they do make really good pets when you raise them.
Mm-hmm. For sure. We've had an iguana before. Them things bite, man. They're moody. But the bearded dragon, man, she's a great pet. And it's cool watching her grow and she built up her beard and all them spikes are coming out. And they're happy when they shed properly. When they shed from their nose, working back evenly, properly. They're happy and healthy when that happens. And she's just great. I love it. It's cool watching her eat the worms. She eats these. We get her these blue horned worms. Actually, I was gonna start giving her these worms that were attacking my quote unquote tomato plants. And me and my wife got into like an argument over it. She's like, "You do not give those worms to our animal. You don't know where those worms been." And I'm like, I guess you're right. We can just get them from a store.
No, you let them eat. Yeah, I mean, they'll know,
right,
eat it or not. Yeah. No,
Hey,
that's free food, and that's like gardening.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, there's bugs in the garden too. All right, bearded dragon's gonna be happy.
So it's like we go out to the garden in the morning, so it's like I go out there with the coffee at the joint, and then my bearded dragon's on my shoulder. It's like, all right, let's go do some work.
That's awesome. You got to make a video of that.
Oh, I'm going to. Next summer, I'm definitely going to.
Yeah, I love doing videos from the garden back in the day when I was in Indiana. Every Sunday for a while, I was reading from an alchemy book right from my garden. And I did that for, I don't know, a couple months during the summer. It was real bad video and audio and all that stuff. Old videos.
Some of my favorite videos you have put out to date, that just for the record. Got my wife super interested.
Yeah, you always told me Dixie loved those videos.
She went out and bought 2 copies, I think, of Practical Alchemy. At least one.
Real alchemy. A primer of Practical Alchemy.
I knew it was something.
By Robert Allen Bartlett. Go check it out, folks. And he's got a second edition. Well, not a second edition, but a kind of like a part 2 to that, where it gets a little bit more advanced even. Yeah, I need to get that book again. I've loaned that book out 3 times and I've never gotten it back. I need to get 2 copies, one to share with people and one to just keep. Because I wanted to go back to it when I was making the essential oil experiment. And I went looking all over for it. And I was like, oh, crap, I let a young gentleman that used to come down to the river all the time wanted to be a shaman. I was like, well, you might like this book then. Yeah, I think books are kind of like that, though.
Shout out
Can't
to
really
Care
get
Bear.
upset about it.
Care Bears digging holes this morning. I know it's awfully early. Of course, I don't know
That's
where
good
Care Bear
exercise
is.
there.
It is good exercise, taking core samples. Got to get them holes dug. You have a good rest of your day digging them bore holes.
I was thinking of like fence posts.
Well, that's
we did. That just brought back some memories, dude. Building fences with my dad. Wow.
I was gonna say we never had a boring machine. I was out there with a post hole digger.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It's like not deep enough, son. Just gotta keep going with the damn busted ass post hole digger. Let's go. Keep moving.
Flint Hills of Missouri is not the ideal place for digging post holes.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. 16. That's what I had to do to get a horse. My dad wanted a horse. And I assumed, now looking back, he was probably going to get it regardless. But he used that as the enticement to get me to fence off a little bit of a pasture for the horse.
Hell yeah.
So
I grew up with horses. Big time. We had quarter horses and paint horses, and we would go do reining
competition
shows, and we would go do Western pleasure, showmanship, halter, but it was mostly I would go do like reining patterns, and then we would go to contests, and we would do keyholes and barrels and all that good stuff. It was great, man. I remember those days. It was so fun. It was great because I would go there. I was a 4-time grand champion, and in the 5th year I was grand champion reserve. And these are horses that when they hit the ground, like when they were birthed, I remember being at the barn and I remember my dad making me breathe into the nostrils of the horse, like right when it's born. I don't know what the hell's going on, and he's like making me imprint with the baby. And then I remember just everything. We would like bomb proof the horse, like, when you're breaking it, learning to put it on the saddle, then getting on, doing all this stuff, everything, getting bucked off. Like, I know how many times I fell off a horse, which is like 54 times. I wish I could do that all over again, man. I wish I had a horse again that I could take my boys out to the farm the way my dad did me. It's so good for you. I loved every minute of it. I miss it. And I was going there beating people that were paying a horse trainer thousands of dollars. And then they would come to these shows and I'd mop the floor with them. And it's just me and my dad, man. And we would get a reputation, like people would want like to hire my dad as a horse trainer. And he's like, no, we're just coming out here to beat all you rich folks. That's all. It was great, awesome. Man. I loved it.
My cousin did that. And it was the same thing. There's a lot of money in farming, in Indiana. There are definitely some farms they're considered upper middle class farms where, they have lots of money. So yeah, you're from Indiana, you know how it is. And they have, $200,000 to $500,000 show horses and this and that. And my cousin ran barrels in not Stark County, the next county over. Oh, I forget the name of it. She was in this little hick town that had a post office and a liquor store or a bar, and that was it. It was called Lighters Ford, out in the middle of nowhere. If you blinked, you missed it. It wasn't even like off a highway. It was like 5 miles from any highway, out in the middle of nowhere. But my cousin grew up on a little farm, small 10-acre farm, and they had horses. So she rode horses from like the time she could walk. Her grandfather rode horses. Her dad rode horses. And
nice.
Yeah, she got a ride to Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, University of Nebraska. A full ride to go ride barrels for him. She went for a semester and then came back because she missed her boyfriend. But it all worked out. He's a big farmer. They got a 2 square mile farm now down in Nebraska. They moved, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, something like that. But yeah, same thing. People used to come to my grandpa and ask them to train them. because he trained her. And he's like, nope, don't want anything to do with you people. No thanks. He was retired, you know.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, that was me and my dad's mission every year, was to go there. And it's not like we had bad blood with these people. It was just like my dad's whole thing was like, yeah. And at the same time, he's like, he's like, man, we're real cowboys. They're not. Austin, they don't even have a real relationship with their horses like we do. Austin, he'd be hyping me up and stuff before the shows. And I loved it. And then growing up out there, all the cowgirls, they were, I loved it.
There's a lot to be said about a pair of Wrangler jeans. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Josh. And I got a lot of respect out there. I was the only one out there without a trainer, and like, all the girls seeing me beating all of them. It's like, hey, okay.
Yeah, that's big stuff at the rodeo.
Oh yeah, man.
Fishing is just
energy,
it's like any other.
Wow, loved it.
And it's you and not another person. It's you and this big giant animal.
Yes, that I loved so much. Like I had a paint horse named Travis, and he was such a great horse. That was my I would do my reining patterns with him, and barrels and keyholes and stuff like that, and poles. And when we would go to these go do the contesting, excuse me, he knew what was up. He knew what time it was, right? And when we would go into the pasture, the pen, the arena, I gotta like keep his butt towards the barrels. And he's like, he got his head up, he's ready to go. And it's like, he knows as soon as I turn him around, we're going to go. And we're going to go until we make it around these barrels and come back. I don't even have to really work my legs with him, because we've practiced these barrels so many times. He knows the right direction to go around them. And it's like, I got to keep his back to those barrels, because as soon as he knows I turn him around, he can go as fast as he wants to. And, he's kind of rearing up. He's just really excited. And I'm like, you ready, bub? You ready? Are you ready? And I remember I talk him up, and he's like, all right. I'd be like, yeah. I mean, dude, it's just the adrenaline sitting on that animal. Dude, I loved it. I want to go back to that so bad. Before I was bartending, I worked on a horse farm. And that's when I was really digesting all this flat earth stuff. I was managing a farm, a barn full of 17 thoroughbreds, and the Mexicans will come in and ride them, the jockeys. And so I'm really just by myself in these horses. So I'd have a earpiece in, and I'm listening to Bob and No Doubt, all the Glowbusters, all the Flat Earth podcasts, Brian Mullins, all that stuff, dude, the whole time I was at the barn. But yeah, I love that. I love horses, man. Beautiful animals.
And that's the perfect place to kind of absorb all that information. There's
really
not
was
so much distractions, and like you said, it was you and the horses. So there wasn't people to be bothering you and this and that. Yeah, that sounds like heaven, man.
It did. It was. I loved it so much. And then that farm went down when COVID went down. The owner had so much invested. I knew they were going to go down too, because I knew what was coming from, once we start seeing things, it was like, wow, but it is what it is. But hopefully someday, I brought my boys out there once, and the first thing my oldest son said was, I was disappointed when he said it. He's like, Dad, where's all the technology here? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
I was like, I gotta get you outside more, man.
Where it should be. Not around here.
Right. I told him it's a different form of technology. That's what I told him.
And that's no kidding.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, that the horse whisperer, just the knowledge and the technique of imprinting at birth. the way your dad was showing you. I mean, that knowledge is good as technology. That learning to create, basically sort of forcing that relationship. Once you imprint yourself on that horse, the horse doesn't know any different. You have just forced a relationship, a bond. I mean, then that's amazing technology.
I remember that too. It was terrifying, dude. I don't even know. At the time, I didn't know why my dad was making me do that. I just remember it was like 3 a.m. It's freezing out. There's snow. The filly hits the floor. I watched Travis. He was a male. I watched him, paint horse. He's a colt. He hits the ground. He's bloody. And my dad's in there. We're in the stall together. And he's like, all right, get in there and start breathing in the nostrils. I'm like, okay. I didn't know what was going on. It's like a scene from the Alien. I'm like a horror movie. There's all this blood everywhere. I'm like, man, dude. I just watched Fire in the Sky, and it's like,
yeah, that's those things that leave a imprint on you as well. You know, not just the horse.
absolutely.
I think that's much for us.
After right, like these horses. I like no lie. There's the 3 horses I did it to that I had. There's Travis, Grace, Dr. Pepper. We called him Pepper. And he was an AQHA world champion 2 years in 91 and in 93, American Quarter Horse Association champion. Okay, so these horses, after doing that, you can you don't even need a halter or a lead line. They'll follow you. They're like right behind your shoulder all the time. It was amazing. It's so cool. You know, of course, we would have a halter and a lead line, but when we're at home, I could just, you know, from the pasture to the barn, you're just going to follow behind me, you know, and plus with the routine and everything, man, smart animals.
Anything. Yeah, they're right behind you.
Yeah.
And
know what's going on.
One of the main reasons I want to continue that conversation is basically from how this started. It's one thing to see people riding horses because good horsemanship has great command over that animal, and that animal, there's that unspoken communication with the weight of the stirrups and the squeezing of the legs. There's a whole lot of stuff going on there. So to the untrained eye, it just looks so easy and simple. It's like, oh, you jump on and it goes. No big deal. It's like anything. It's like riding a bike. But humans compared to horses are so frail. And it's real easy to get hurt, real easy to learn your place when it comes to throwing your weight around. And you have to learn how to, again, take command of that animal. So when you're riding along and you're a little kid and you get up on that horse and you start to realize just how little control you actually have physically and how everything else is that relationship. The only way you can control a horse is with a good relationship because the horse is so much bigger and stronger than you. If it wants, it's going to take you wherever it wants to go. So you have to make sure that it wants to go where you want to go. But when you fall off, when you're learning to ride that horse and you're experiencing the massive power behind that horse and you're way up higher than you normally are, than when you walk or stand and you're sitting atop this horse and it goes schizo and you end up in a pile in the dirt, you have to figure out that you're not injured, dust yourself off, and climb back up on that horse.
Yes. That was one of my dad's biggest things. Like,
by the way,
he can go ahead.
Time. I was gonna say, yeah, you don't take time either. You get right back up.
Right back on.
Or the next day. No, right now. You have to show that horse that that's not gonna affect you.
Yep.
Absolutely, because guess what? That horse will do it every time. If he thinks, oh, all I gotta do is get him off of me and then he'll stop, then he's gonna do it every time. That they're not dumb creatures, you know. And my dad would throw me right back on, man. Right back on. I was like, all right, time to get back up there. Like the wind's knocked out of me. Okay, let's go. Get back up there. because if not, my dad's gonna spank me, and I'm not doing that. So, but
Oh,
yeah, I get back up there, and you have to. And here's another thing: you have to control your emotions, because if you're scared, they're gonna become scared.
Yeah.
If you're like all excited and angry and worked up, they will become that. You have to be calm, and you got to know some of their pressure points. They got these. It's an area called the withers, and it's on the lower part of their. It's like it's between their shoulder blades, their front shoulder blades, and there's these certain areas you can rub and you talk to them, and it's definitely it's a relationship. You got to learn your animal.
But I think so many.
Yeah, I saw. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say, I think there's a lot of people today that have never had to experience that mental toughness of saying, "Fuck, that sucked. I've got to go put myself right back into that situation again and do it like a dozen times in a row." But when you're scared and you're tired and you're hurt and you're dirty and you have to get up, and even though there's that fear because you've just been bucked off 3 times before, you got to get back up on there. And having that intestinal fortitude to overcome your fear, do it anyway, I think is what a lot of people are missing in their life. I think that's why First Amendment audit videos at post offices are hilarious, because people think that just because they're uncomfortable, it's everybody else's job to make them comfortable. And the great thing about being an adult is when you are uncomfortable, you fucking deal with it and go through it anyway. And that's what great things about horses and horsemanship and being raised with horses is. That's a lesson you learn very early on.
Yeah, man, I'm so thankful for that childhood and all that. I did it until high school. It's just when we moved down here, hay went from $2 a bale to fucking $12 a bale. It was really hard to maintain that lifestyle down here. But yeah, dude, I wouldn't trade that for the world. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It's good for you, that's for sure. And it is amazing when you, like, who said this in the chat? Seeking Starwater. I visited a high school friend who raises Percherons, and those are big horses. Okay, 18 hands high. They measure them by hands. That's a really big horse. 18 hands at the withers. That's really big. And I was not afraid, and my friend was amazed how I connected with these giant animals. And they're really. It's an amazing feeling to have these connections, these relationships with these creatures. And when you watch them grow or you watch them play, like they like to have fun. Like I would let them out, and they know they're about to go run and play, and as soon as you let them go, and they know that you're like clear away from them, they can just take off. They'll start bucking and farting and having a good time. I loved it. I miss it so much.
So was there a horse that your dad could ride that nobody else could?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah,
my grandpa had the same name. Stroker.
Yeah.
Was his name.
Charlie was ours.
One time, I remember, because we were all over there. I think there was just too many people around and this and that. He bucked my grandfather one time. My grandfather didn't yell or nothing. He went up and talked to him and whispered in his ear. And I remember when he came back, my uncle was like, "What'd you tell him?" He's like, "That's between me and Stroker."
Hell yeah, that's so cool. That's a cowboy right there.
Yeah, he never got bucked again. He didn't buck him again after that.
Love it.
So whatever he told him worked.
Shout out to Dread there, chat. Musicians for Truth. Good morning.
Much love, bro.
Much love, Dread. Guys, getting up early.
Right?
Allison threw me all off saying Happy Friday earlier when I was still sleeping. It took me a second. I was like, wait a minute. It can't be. No, it can't be Friday. Getting old, folks. It's that easy.
I seen F'd Up World was in the chat. He's gonna be on the Mellow Dome Wednesday night. We had a great phone call. We had a conversation over the phone yesterday. what a great conversation. I'm really excited for this Wednesday night. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about a few things. And one of the main things we're going to be talking about is all the different locations that are described in the book of Enoch, all these different places that God took Enoch to. We're going to get into that. I think it's going to be a great conversation. 7 p.m. Eastern. And my channel's back up. So,
And that's the one thing that drives me nuts about a lot of these people who say, well, that book was removed, so it's not part of the Bible
oh my
anymore.
gosh, I can't stand that, man.
You guys, it's not like Enoch was just a name in the Bible.
Right.
When you go through and, so-and-so begat so-and-so, and there's all the begetting going on, Enoch is the only one they say they don't ever tell you that he dies.
Right.
It says God took him and he walked with God. So he didn't leave his body. He got to keep his human form, or however it happened, but yeah, there's something to that. I mean, even in the Bible, Enoch is a very special individual. Even in the Bible. And it seems like they just tried to wash that name away, except for that one passage. Because I don't think he's really mentioned all that much more in the Bible after that. I'm not the Bible guy, so I really wouldn't know. But I know Noah, his grandson, was mentioned after that. But Enoch isn't really talked about too much. And yeah, that's just a big red flag to me. It's like, dude, there's got to be something.
I can't help but have my interest in these other books that are no longer in the Bible. Why is it not? I feel like this should be
able to. We're flat earthers,
Right.
We want the knowledge that they're trying to hide from us.
Right.
So to exclude it off of because they're telling us, I can't do that.
I don't even think a lot of people realize how many books were taken out.
Oh, there were hundreds of books.
Right.
It went down to 66. Hundreds.
Yeah.
They took out more than they left in. So they just gave you a fraction of the story.
And not only did they give you a fraction of the story, but they twisted all that up, as the years go by between all the kings and all that is, man, I treat all books equal. I'm not saying, oh, this is the living word. I think we are the living word, and we give those words life when we read them. We are the living word. Like God spoke all of us into existence, literal living word. And that book and all these other books, well, I feel like the books that are taken out are different. They're obviously taken out for a reason, but I feel like it's a great way to live your life. It's a good model to live by, like the book of James. Like, learning how to control your tongue, or your whole body will be set ablaze, and then learning how to treat others. All these things. It's just a great way to be a man with upright morals and stuff like that. Like, I don't know why people need to take it way further than that. Like it's a material thing. Why are we going to idolize something that's materialistic like that? I think it needs to be a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, well, they've made it so many people don't even read the book. I mean, my mom, she was raised Catholic, went to Catholic school, and my grandma, same thing. Till the day she died, she went to church, 3 times a week. Never had a Bible in the home. In the Catholic religion, you didn't have a house Bible. The priest interpreted the Bible to you. That's why you went to church. It was different, and then the Protestants, King James Bible was printed, and everybody started getting their Bibles and this and that. But Catholics, they never had the Bible in their home that they got to read. That was read to them by the priest. That says a lot right there.
There's this meme that I shared one day, and it's like, it has Homer, He's hitting a joint and he's thinking, and it says, the people who wrote the Bible didn't have a Bible. I just thought that's hilarious. But I'm not like knocking it, obviously. I believe in a creator, and I think there's a lot of good things that come out of that book. But at the same time, I don't agree with a lot of things in that book. For example, if, like, dude, what kind of God would like say, hey, I need to test your faith, so kill your firstborn son. And then right before you do, I'm saying, wait, never mind. I just want to see if you do it. You're good. That's psychotic. That is psychotic, you know? So there's a lot of things I don't agree with. But, you know, again, a lot of things are gravelled and keep us away from the truth. Obviously, there's a creator and we are special, and religion is a slavery tool. I think it's more of an internal thing, understanding, if you will.
I think the elite, I don't know, I don't want to say that they put that in there, but I think some people still practice that today. You know, but they don't do it to God. They give their firstborn to whoever, these secret societies. A lot of it, you know, if you're not, even if you're born into it, I think that's part of it. Like your firstborn child is a sacrifice almost.
Oh, what a crazy family that has to be to live in.
Well, yeah, when you look at all these different big Hollywood actors or big time musicians, this and that, they all seem to have children that have some kind of horrible passing. In one way or another, you know, a lot of them do. They have a child that they lost at a young age, and it's not always right away. Sometimes they're 9, 10, but they're still children. Which would even be worse. I can't even speak on that. I mean, losing a child is losing a child, no matter when it happens. But yeah, that a lot of these big Hollywood names, if you go back and look through their history, they have, or their wife, or their, you know, this or that. It's, I don't know. Do you have to sign away?
Does there have to be some type of sacrifice of some sort?
Your soul, you know? Enough,
your soul or another's, you know, your own. That reminds me of, you know, those Beavis and Butthead idiots that we're seeing everywhere, the Island Boys. I'm sure you heard of the dumbasses. One of those boys, they like made a video and he's like, yeah, you know, I sold my soul and I haven't been happy ever since. And, you know, it's a process. All this just started. So that's why it takes a while for me to actually make it. But that's why I sold my soul, to make it. And I just haven't been happy ever since. And he's like going on and on about it. And I'm like, man, these boys are stupid. So it's like, how many of these people have, you know, signed that dotted line, you know, I think the whole key to life is not giving away your soul or not selling your soul, you know, you gotta maintain that thing.
It's like the main part of being here is maintaining your soul. And I don't think just keeping it either. I think we're supposed to grow it. You know, it's like a plant.
Ooh, I like that.
You don't just keep your soul. You have to care for it. And yeah, it's like anything that you really care for, it's a labor of love.
Shedding the layers of flesh and building layers of the spirit, you know.
Yeah, just having the strength and fortitude to get your body to do what your soul is telling you to do. How many times do we not do what that little voice in our head is telling us to do? We'll just say, I'll do it later.
Yeah, dude. I was thinking the other day, what if that voice in our head is our creator, but it just sounds like it's our voice because it's in our head. You know, like what if that inner voice is the creator and we just think it's just our own thoughts because in our head we hear it as us, you know what I mean, as ourselves. I was pretty stoned the other day.
What if it's just player one with his headset on?
Aye.
Ah, man, that would be a trip right there.
Every once in a while, the player will come, join the game, put his headset on, and talk into the mic. And now you're the character running around like, what the fuck is that? Why do I hear that
Once
voice?
in a while, connection fails. It's very rare because the system is built so good, but we have them. And then you see people just pass out.
I feel like I really feel like I should just turn right here. I just, there's a little voice in my head telling me, go right. And there's just compulsion. It's a gut feeling that makes me I just have to turn.
And that's crazy. This whole metaverse that they're trying to push now, that Ready Player One is like what they want it to go to. It's really the dystopian future that, I think they're trying to create.
Sure.
Without all the pollution and killing the earth at first.
It's the answer of how distracted can we get them? Going to be that homeless guy on the street wearing nothing but his VR goggles, or the poor little kid who's got to be distracted to get his vaccine. So 5 adults holding him down while he's wearing his VR goggles and getting his vaccine shot.
Well, yeah, it was like the super elite, and then there was everybody else. And the super elite lived in these big, beautiful cities. And then everybody else they all had like a trailer that were all stacked on top of each other. They were like high rises of trailer parks. And that's pretty much, or just a box, one of the, what are they, cargo ship trailer
shipping
things.
Containers.
Thank you. Too early. But yeah, they would be living in stuff like that. But they would all spend their money to get better virtual reality gear. So they could, do better in the metaverse. That's where they all lived. Nobody cared about, I want to move to Kansas so I can have a farm and this and that and grow my own food and start being healthy and get out of this place. No, they saved up every penny so they could get the virtual reality suit to where they could feel it now. And
dude, I think that's here now. That's now,
You look at every
when you think about it.
You can spend money to just build up your character.
Right
away.
And not only that, all of these like devices, like the Oculus and stuff, a few years ago they were what, $800, $1,000. Now they're everywhere and they're so much cheaper. You know what I mean? It's becoming, I think we're like right around the corner there for sure. I've seen them in action. They already got those like running in place machines and you can spin around and dude, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Have you ever
I like video games. I like video games. Yes. Yeah, I have. And you know what? I had to sit down. It was like a Thanksgiving thing like 2 years ago. And they had the Oculus and they were trying to see if they could stay standing doing a roller coaster. And oh my gosh, I could not. I went to the ground immediately. That messes up your senses, man. It really does. It fucks you all up. You're sitting there, you got the headset on, you're seeing a roller coaster and you're up, down, and it's like your body is expecting all of these motions, and nothing happens, and then your body's like about to fall over because of it. You need to hang on to something.
Oh yeah, I get that way. I used to, at least, when I would be playing video games. First person something or other, and I'd go jump off a cliff or a building, and I would get that feeling in my gut like I was on a roller coaster. Body wasn't moving, but my brain was telling my body that I was falling, and I felt like I was falling. That used to happen all the time to me. And there was a lot of my buddies that it never happened to. I was like, what? when you go jump off this cliff and, you know, you look down and you see the ground coming at you real fast and you're gaining speed, something in my gut would just be like, whoop, and it would lift up.
Oh, yeah.
Man, there's some good chats happening in the chat.
Yeah, I know.
You guys, big shout out. Tommy, that flat fellow.
Hey, Tommy. Dude, what a fucking amazing guy. He's a good guy.
He definitely is.
Out there at the flea market.
Thank you.
Saturday, Columbia. He was live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Having some. And I know we can call it flat smacking, but when I see Tommy do that stuff, I don't consider it flat smacking. That's
He's
just
teaching.
too harsh. It's like flat tapping you on the shoulder politely and giving you knowledge, you know? I just can't call it a smack because he doesn't smack you. He's so polite about it. Yeah, I love
It's an
his approach.
enlightenment, you know, like the way he does. I just love that whole crew, man. Like, dude, picking up trash on the side of the road and just his whole story, how it started, where just him, the table, and a sign asked me about flat Earth. And it turned into this huge family, you know, and cooking. And, you know, I was watching the other day, I seen Eric out there with them. And it's like, yeah, dude, that's so cool. And, you know, because I talk to Eric on the phone. We have amazing conversations. I love him. He's great. All those guys are great, man. And then I seen we got a newbie that's been around since Flattoberfest, Ariel, Truth Seeker. She was out there, you know, flat tapping people. Man, it was just so cool. I can't wait to be out there.
Yeah, they picked up 3 new Kakalaki crew members since Flattoberfest.
Nice.
Using Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. Got to get one of those in there. Yeah, Dave's app's taken off, and he said that's where they met him through.
Hell yeah. I'm going to have free flow on the Melodome here. The date isn't set yet, but we're gonna have him on. We're gonna be talking about dinosaurs.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Oh yeah, he has a different perspective than most about dinosaurs. You know, different perspective as a flat. You know, because most people think, oh, they're not real, and then write it off completely. Well, I don't really think that's the case. You know. But I can't wait to hear what he has to, or what he's going to bring to the table. It's going to be great. All those guys are great, man. And everyone in the chat's cool. Everyone. Don, much love, Don.
Well, there's 2 people down in Spartan, but we were right by Delaney's Irish Pub, weren't we? At
there was an Irish pub there. Like right behind the event.
Yeah, there's 2 blue dots right there.
Cool,
right now,
dude. Hey, did like some workers at the pub or something like wake up since then? You know, and I got the app.
I saw people talking to him.
Oh yeah, man. Hell yeah. I was talking to every time we went and had dinner or lunch or whatever. It's like, hey, you know the earth is flat, right? Didn't even have to say it. We had shirts. People were asking us. It was great. People were so nice out there, man. It was awesome.
It's a different world here, man. I'm telling you. These South Carolinians up here in the upper part of the state are some really down to earth, just good people that don't care when the government tells them they have to do stuff. They're just like, yeah, whatever. And the governor, as far as politicians go, he's definitely playing the anti-bullshit card. He's on that side of the fence. So we're in a luck. I'm not going to say he's a good guy. I don't know the guy. He's a politician, you know. But the governor here has never had any of that nonsense, mandates and all this stuff. Since we've been here, they've never had them. So yeah, it's a really, really just down to earth, normal middle America people. We are in the Bible Belt. If you try to turn on the radio, like every other station is a religious channel, either preaching or singing singing religious songs, which I understand. We had some of those up in Indiana, but here it's like 3 times as many. They really love their Bible down here. It's definitely like part of the heart of the Bible Belt, I think.
That's
But
cool.
no, just good people. Yeah, everybody here has been awesome. Detroit. I love Detroit. Out of all the places I went around the country and just hung out and met people, I think Detroit gets a really bad rap. I know I've said it 100 times on here, but what was your favorite place to go, Josh? Where's the best you've been treated while traveling? Too early in the morning for one of those questions?
Well, I'm trying to think. Like I've not really been traveling since I was a kid. My life's not allowed a whole lot of spare time for vacations and such. But just in general, as far as my favorite place that I've been to, my dad was a big proponent of getting out there and traveling. He could afford to take his wife and kids to wherever once or twice a year and spend a few weeks. So I've probably been to like 38 or 40 of the 50 states. And really the Grand Tetons, I think, have been my absolute favorite. So that mountain range up north, I think, is magical. I don't know if it's the granite or what, but there was just something there. Just there's something about the landscape. I don't know. There's excavation teams.
It's time to go to the mountains.
It's always time to go to the mountains. Really, I think if I could, I'd always threaten it. Go ahead, try to give me the shot. I'll just run off to the mountains. I'll go live in the woods. I'd rather die in the woods, struggling to survive, than take a shot just to work to make somebody else rich. But yeah, there's always been that part of me that wants to escape off into the mountains. Always been a mountain man there in me somewhere. But I am like in desperate need of some coffee and maybe
me too.
A couple drags of cigarette. What do you guys think? Take a little musical interlude?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sounds good. We'll just call it like 2 minutes, 14 seconds, I think is what we're going to do. This is Serendipity. I'm just randomly picking tracks off this fancy little website here. Maybe I better sign in first, just to let them know that I have access. All right, let's try that. Oh, you son of a bitch. But thanks for hanging out with us this morning. The studio just wasn't answering via Skype. So we are not on Truth Frequency Radio this morning. I believe they are playing a rerun. But since we're not over there, we're going to take a little break. Be back in just a couple of minutes, long enough for me to grab some fresh coffee, puff a cigarette a couple times, scurry back here. But love you guys. Stick around, and we shall be right back right after this.
So what did you all see there while that music was playing?
Yeah, that's kind of disgusting. 2 minutes, and I couldn't make it. Probably because I sat through 2 breaks worth of coffee, and my poor little prostate just couldn't handle it. But it was just long enough to get my go to the bathroom, get my coffee, take a couple drags of cigarette, and make it back here in 3 minutes. So if that had been like a regular TFR break, I'd have been golden. But not so much on the.
Well, that's what your prostate's used to.
That's
TFR
right.
break.
It's been trained. This is episode 411 of the Ironworx, by the way. That just sounds so weird saying it out loud.
I guess we should share some information on this show then, huh?
I guess. But do we have anything really worth sharing?
Isn't there an eclipse this weekend? Another eclipse coming up?
I know we just had one.
Right. Thought I heard something. I mean, I could be completely wrong.
I'm not sure at all.
Look. Yeah, they've really been hitting the asteroid stories a lot lately. I've been seeing a lot to do with the magnetic poles flipping lately.
Yeah, me too.
It's just the same old stuff. What was it? They used the phrase space lettuce. They used the phrase space lettuce. Something about Asher or on Mars or something. They're gonna have to learn how to perfect or something. Was it you who shared that one, Josh?
I'm pretty sure. See if I can't dig it up. I don't have any of my stuff pulled up like I'd like to.
So we do. We have a solar eclipse starting on December 4th. The new moon day of Krishna, Paksha, and okay, I don't know where I'm at, but it's saying at 10:59 a.m. will continue to 3:07 in the afternoon, but this is from India, I guess. How did I get India? And there's got to be one from the United States. An Antarctic solar eclipse.
An Antarctic solar eclipse?
Yeah, let's see if they give me where this eclipse. Nope. Getting much good coverage on this one.
Antarctic solar.
So yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Well,
That usually
North
doesn't take
Korea
this
saying
long.
aliens. North Korea saying aliens abducted 3,000. Get out of here. 355,000 people. An entire city is gone. North Korea is news is the best comedy channel. North Korea is claiming that get out of here. Sorry guys. I'm reading what Tommy put in the chat. Aliens. Yeah, we're just gonna kill them off and tell them aliens took them.
So it's saying the upcoming total solar eclipse will only be visible in Antarctica or the southern hemisphere. According to NASA, ding, in some places, while viewers will not get to see the total solar eclipse, they will instead experience a partial solar eclipse. So it's still not saying exact. Okay, here we go. Parts of St. Helena and Namibia, Lesotho, South Africa, South Georgia, and the Sandwich Islands, Crozet Islands, Falkland Islands, Chile, New Zealand, and Australia will be able to see a partial solar eclipse on December 4th. Shout out to all our Aussie friends and our New Zealanders. Is that what we call people from New Zealand? I have no idea. I think I saw Diva in chat. Well, we have Diva in chat. But yeah, we'll be able to see a partial solar eclipse on December 4th.
We also had Lucas in chat. I just got to say, I think we've, not that I've ignored it, but I've seen it and I've not addressed it. And it's been long enough. Lucas is also in chat. Shout out to LC King. We miss you, brother. Glad to hear you're doing well. Glad to hear the farm is humming along.
Yeah, building yurts and stuff I saw. Awesome.
That is awesome.
So at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time or 12 p.m. International Standard Time. So there you go, 12 p.m. International Standard Time. It's going to start. Peaks at about 1:03 and ends at 1:36. Okay.
All right, Jay.
We shall see. Well, I guess we won't see.
Nope.
At least I won't. Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of given up on the whole, not given up, but I'm not going to allow it to drive me insane. Trying to figure out what those things are above our head. It's fun. But I really was. I was getting a little too into it. And I was losing sleep and all kinds of stuff over it. So it's more of a hobby, not so much of a passion. I think it's one of the lessons, really, that you don't get to know everything. It's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can figure out all stuff, but not everything. Deal with it.
Yep, I think that's a lot of what it is. There are mysteries to which you will never know. It's that constant reminder that we are only human.
Yeah, that's perfect. Constant reminder that we are only human. I love that. That's what the lights in the sky are to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always time to laugh, folks. It doesn't matter how much time you spend trying to figure some things out. It's just not going to happen. So you might as well not drive yourself crazy over it and take some time to enjoy this place a little bit. I mean, I love research. I love learning. But there's something about watching a little puppy do something funny. There is. I don't watch them very often, but if I'm getting into one of those moods, I'll go and turn on, well, I'm always playing with Hank and Min. So that's just a gimme. But yeah, when I love watching puppies. Something about a puppy barking. and like showing how big and bad it is. That just cracks me up. I'll put that on and then it just changes my day. I think we all need one of those. That little thing you can do for just 20 seconds that can reset your mood a little bit.
Why do you think cat videos are so popular on YouTube and puppy videos and all that
Yeah.
other shit that made them so popular get 23 million views? Because it works. Internet's just your
Good.
brain chemical delivery system. We'll just use it to trigger different areas of the brain, get different rushes of chemicals based on what we watch and when we can check our notifications and who likes our stuff.
Yeah, big shout out to David Weiss, DITRH, shared my last video on the app. Whenever he does that, I get all kinds of views, and I love that, sharing stuff like that with people when it's a good, informative video like that. It brings out the trolls, but their comments never see the light of day. They should learn by now, but
Yeah.
I guess
They got nothing anyways. I like the way you present on your videos too. That's really, really easy to digest, and I love it, man. Your videos are what really helped me figure out the whole what is making things go down, because like it's just hearing it from you makes it easier to understand, and then turn around and explain it when someone asks me that, because you going around telling people gravity is not real, and they're like, all right, then what is it?
You're insane.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Nobody understands this really outside of us flat earth community people. There's a few of them out there, I guess. I mean, Walter Lewin taught me this, but yeah, gravity doesn't take place down here. We should have never even started using the word gravity when we were talking about things falling on Earth. I mean, that's before Einstein. Way before Einstein. That's Isaac Newton stuff. And then they figured out electricity and all those things. And that's why they made the ionosphere, because they knew this stuff was up in the air and all around them, and the Benjamin Franklin and his kite and blah, 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 blah. At least according to their history, they knew about electricity back in the late 1700s. And they were starting to figure out, the laws of nature and how electricity works. And then Maxwell in the 1850s had to create the ionosphere because he knew that electricity is what controlled all. They knew that electricity, the electric potential difference in the atmosphere creates this downward vector. They knew it. And good physics teachers today still teach it like that. They'll tell you, gravity doesn't take place until you have a huge mass that's so far away that are electrically neutral. They have to be electrically neutral. Nothing here in this place, anywhere you've been or I've been, is electrically neutral. That only takes place in fairy tale space. Everything down here is connected electrically. Yeah, we call it neutral, because it's balanced out, but it's still all connected. There's an electric field between you and I, and when we get close to each other, they interact. They're not electrically neutral. And we can send things through this electric medium from one point on the planet all the way to the other side like that in a fraction of a second. So we're all connected. There is no spot where, I don't know what's going on in the North Pole or way out in Antarctica, but everywhere we can go, there's this electric field and we're all connected by electricity. That's just how it is. Sorry, a little rant there.
No, that was good. I think whatever is at the North Pole, we can't see it because either like the sun and the moon, they're like they're like fields are creating that Faraday effect, so it's like blocking whatever is like in the center. You know what I mean? Like as these two bodies are going around, it's creating like this vortex look, and within that could be, who knows, the second sun or whatever, but we just can't see it because it's being blocked out.
Yeah, that's one of those things I don't think we're ever going to know. I mean, once we get to the north, we can know more, but to fully get it, unless it's like a machine, and this place is like a, terrarium, an actual terrarium that's, I don't know. And these are all projections up there. I don't know.
Where the fuck are we?
I'm not going to drive my head. I'm not going to drive my plane over it. I was just about to. Like, nope, not going to worry about it.
So I think
maybe one day our souls will get to find out, though. Not while we're in these meat suits, but once we get to step out of this plane of existence, once you do break out of it, I think maybe we get to see a little bit more. I'm hoping. Or all that knowledge just comes rushing back and we already know deep down inside what's really going on. Sorry, Josh.
Well, on that note, on that topic, it's I do sort of suspect that's probably what it will be like. When you're having a dream and there's just sort of things sort of about the situation that's not, just feel inside that, I don't know, maybe it's just me in my dream, but there's like, since my brain can't quite process all that information because I'm fucking sleeping, it sort of takes those shortcuts and just sort of downloads that information and then that knowledge into my dreaming state. So it's just sort of a given. It's that presupposition that's just sort of ingrained. I don't know. It was completely not where my brain was, because my brain was just sort of already broken. I'm pretty sure that was just on Sunday's Globebusters. Bob was talking about Star Trek and this real life like AR holodeck and the likelihood of NASA probably using something like that, or things will be transitioning to that for their fakery and stuff. And I'm not entirely sure because it's early and I'm multitasking here, but I think I might have just found it. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what to do with some of this. And this is,
what's it called?
So this is just me clicking through hyperlinks, because it's not the bullshit stories that they tell us. It's those interesting little blue links that they include that most people just take as text and keep skimming. And unless you sort of click through on that story to find out what they're talking about, you don't really get the good, juicy stuff. And that's what I was doing. I really thought the article I shared was fake. And had it not been for some of the other different news sources that had covered it, I may have just discounted it completely. But again, I went from the one that I shared to sort of their original version. And in that original version, I was just clicking around. So I'm going to need to zoom in because that's gooder. So this is called the Space Operations Analysis using the Synergistic Engineering Environment. And this is from Scott Angster, PhD, Analytical Mechanics Associates Incorporated, and Laura Brewer, the Aerospace Systems Concepts and Analysis Competency there at NASA Langley Research Center. This is the abstract here of this paper. The Synergistic Engineering Environment has been underdeveloped at NASA Langley Research Center to aid in the understanding of the operations of spacecraft. This is accomplished through the integration of multiple data sets, analysis tools, spacecraft geometric models, and a visualization environment to create an interactive virtual simulation of the spacecraft. Initially designed to support the needs of the International Space Station, the SEE has been broadened in scope to include the spacecraft ranging from the low Earth orbit to the deep space missions. Analysis capabilities within the SEE include rigid body dynamics, kinematics, orbital mechanics, and payload operations. This provides the user the ability to perform real-time interactive engineering analysis in the areas including flight attitudes and maneuvers, visiting vehicle docking scenarios, robotic operations, plume impingement, field of view obscuration, and alternative assembly configurations. The SEE has been used to aid in the understanding of several operational procedures related to the International Space Station. This paper will address the capabilities of the first build of the SEE, present several use cases of the SEE, and discuss the next build of the SEE. So am I confused? Is that not what, at least at a glance, after a one paragraph abstract on this paper, is that not what that sounds like? Sort of this holodeck system that they're going to use for an AR, VR system to be able to recreate all these environments for these astronauts to train in?
Oh my gosh.
Is that not what I just read, essentially? I mean,
it sounded like
that in what they're writing and the way that they write it, it does take some interpretation to each paper. Like I said, I just sort of found it.
Yeah, share the chat.
So I'm gonna share them.
I have a feeling that
I want to look at that.
Disappear here.
Right.
In the next month or so.
Well, this is a PDF, and
well, you know, if there's
just downloaded it.
You know, they're using it in movies, so this is obviously technology that they've already been messing with. If it's already out for productions for TV shows and stuff like that, so imagine how more advanced the system that they're using would be. You know?
Yeah, if they're selling this commercially,
right,
then this is old tech.
So
this is out of date, probably.
And here's how they tell us about it. And this is what I think is really important about this story. The website I found this on was called The Bite. And the story I shared says, man says he got job at NASA accidentally. He says, I worked on a lot of stuff that went up to the station. Right. So The Bite, I think, is just like a smaller, condensed version of bigger stories from BuzzFeed, I think is how it works. So that's why I'm like, oh, well, if this is just from BuzzFeed, let me go over to BuzzFeed and see what BuzzFeed's saying. And they'll be up there's this whole big thing where it goes on with his TikTok videos and explaining to his girlfriend in this viral video. Heather asks David how he accidentally started working for NASA. David replies, I got an interview for a job working on airplanes, then got a call back saying, hey, there's a different job that we think you might like. And it's for the manipulator, analysis, graphics, and interactive kinetics team, or MAGIC for short. I was like, I don't know what that is, but sounds interesting. And since you're calling me back, I'm assuming I can get an in-person interview, and I'd like to hear about both jobs when I do that. A few weeks later, David got a call that he was offered the job. I assumed I got hired for the first job, but it was actually for the second one that I'd never even had an interview for, and it was for something that I totally didn't understand. So I moved to Texas and started doing that job, he explained on TikTok. And it's the kinematics that I didn't really trigger for me. And there it is. There's the hyperlink for this thing called MAGIC, manipulator, analysis, graphics, and interactive kinematics. Kinematics. Kinematics, right? Manipulator, analysis, graphics, and interactive kinematics. MAGIC team.
Wow.
And it's that is hyperlinked in blue. So I clicked on it, and sure as shit, that was what popped up, is that PDF for the space operations analysis using the synergistic engineering environment, C, which at glance on that abstract, like it's 10 pages, I just pulled it up and broke my brain trying to wrap my puny little human brain around what the hell they're trying to tell me here.
Well, yeah, that first paragraph is designed to make you think that way. You know, oh, this is way above my pay grade. I'm not going to be able to understand any of this rest of this paper without a dictionary. But I bet when you get into the meat and potatoes, it's going to be a lot more less abstract, so to say. You know, it'll be more coherent because certain people have to be able to comprehend it.
All right. Well, there's the link in chat for the BuzzFeed article. Here comes the link for the downloadable PDF. So please, guys, take a look at it to see if maybe I'm just, jumping the gun a little bit and I misread that abstract. But that's sure what it sounded like to me, that they were describing what Bob was talking about on Globebusters. But I might be wrong. I think I need to wear
and
that
a lot
as
of this
shirt.
When we see stuff like this happen and this type of information comes out that these capabilities are possible, we start people go back and read through all these old texts, Bibles, Qurans, this, that, all these old, just from all these ancient cultures. And the words start making a little more sense again. Like if they had this type of technology, maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe it isn't an analogy for something else. And this really means this. Maybe it means exactly what they're saying.
Yep.
You just have to look at it from the point of view that, hey, they had probably more advanced technology than we do right now. That's why we have such problems understanding it, because we didn't even know these things were possible yet. So yeah, every time we learn something new like this, not saying us, but humans in general, and have these advancements in whatever field it is, I say we look back to these old texts and see if they were actually writing about this stuff. Just a thought. So we got about a half hour?
Right at it, pretty much, yeah.
Did you need to brush your teeth or do anything like that?
I mean, I'm sure somebody would appreciate it later on. See if you guys got something to talk about. You guys got some other stories, some space lettuce. And I'll be brushing my teeth and getting ready for work, but I did manage, I think, to get my virtual bell up and running.
Yeah, I'm looking for that space lettuce.
There's one here. It says a football field-sized asteroid is approaching Earth on Monday night, and it's only one of several in the coming weeks.
So that space lettuce story, when I posted it in Telegram, it showed me like more of the link. I was reading more of the link. Maybe I just pay attention to it. But that was from 1.5 years ago. And I think Astronomy, they had shared it on Facebook is where I got the story from. And it was like shared within the last hour or so. They'd shared it. So I just sort of assumed that it was something new that they were sharing there on Facebook. Nope, but they were just rehashing old space lettuce from 1.5 years ago. So it's just sort of this space lettuce inception bullshit they got going on.
Yeah, from March 5th, 2020.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's not relevant necessarily at all. I just missed it 18 months ago.
So before we settle Mars, scientists must perfect growing space salad. Space salad, not space lettuce. We were close.
It gets closer yet.
Oh yeah, they do wow. By next year, NASA astronauts could be eating space-grown lettuce, tomatoes, and peppers.
Yum.
So they said by next year. We're at the end of next year. Are NASA astronauts eating this stuff? Are they able to grow tomatoes and peppers and lettuce?
Such
I'm still
bullshit.
growing lettuce. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Fuck out of here.
You know how much power it takes to run those lights and stuff?
Right? Yeah, man.
Power
No
that's
way,
going on
dude.
up there. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to start picking on the ISS. It's just too easy anymore.
Yeah. That's why I was iffy about that one video I mentioned about that the moon there. The moon is flat. But at the same time, just all the things that Cammie's been showing me, I just thought it was interesting, what could possibly be up there, because I'm looking at it like these things are quantum locked. It's I don't know, it's very interesting.
I mean, it absolutely could be a physical object, but I think the way we see it is through a liquid. Have you seen
Right.
the video? He's been putting it up on all the Globebuster shows. He's been showing it a lot lately. The guy standing in the pool.
Yeah,
And
yes.
out. He's looking out, but he's about, I don't know, 5-6 feet deep into the pool. And when you stand at an angle to the side, a good 45-degree angle off to the side, his body looks like it's still facing you. And no matter which way you walk, the view that the person that's standing there looking 90 degrees straight onto him, for some reason, it doesn't matter where you are, you see that straight on version of that guy. Like standing to the side, you don't see the side of his arm and his elbow and part of his back now, like you should. You still see him facing you directly, like you're looking at him at a 90-degree angle. It's so weird, but it would make, that's going to be one of my next videos for sure. I'm looking for the right, see-through material that I can put down, and I'd like to recreate that and like really nail it down and see how much and how far away it has to be for this to take place, because I'm sure there's different variables with it, just like any other optical phenomenon. It has edges. So yeah, but I don't know. It could be a physical object, but what we see of it is only like what everybody that's directly 90 degrees below it sees, is that one side of it at all times. That's all we can see. Like if you're standing over here and the moon's rising, you don't see the side of the moon. You see the flat face, just like the people that are directly beneath it. I don't know. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. It'll drive you nuts, folks.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Is all I can say. But yeah, it's, the more you learn, the more these little puzzle pieces come dropping in, and sometimes they don't fit and you got to throw them out. It's like a puzzle. It's 100-piece puzzle, but it comes with 5,000 pieces. Hey, there's a new idea for puzzle masters. We're going to give you 50 times the amount of pieces. They're all going to have the same pictures on them and everything, but only 100 of the pieces actually will fit together in the right order. That's evil. Yeah, I don't know. I know some puzzle people, and I bet they'd like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking my mom, she was a puzzle person. She might
take that
she'll
challenge.
Do any puzzle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She'd have a puzzle on the table for like a month working on a huge puzzle,
Oh yeah, my mom still takes pictures of the puzzles she does, and she'll share them on Facebook and stuff like that. She loves doing puzzles. She did. Once she retired, she went into daycare and started, because she was bored, so she'd go 4 hours a day, like 3 days a week, and go help one of her friends take care of children. And she loved doing puzzles with all the children. She usually did like infants to 4-year-olds, like up to preschool. That was her group. So she was getting them right at that age to where they could start doing the easier puzzles and stuff. But yeah, we were always doing puzzles and stuff like that. That was my my favorite thing. That's what everybody, all my aunts and uncles and grandparents and stuff, they would all buy me different types of puzzles when I was young. And they said it was funny because they'd love to watch and see how fast I could do it. Because usually, as soon as I got it, within 10 minutes, if it was one of those puzzles, I had it done. My grandpa was notorious for getting these puzzles. It was just a little ball bearing, steel ball bearing, going around the plastic maze. But it was like 3D, and you had to bend it and turn it. And once you got it done, you got to hit a button, and it would pop open, and there was your $50 bill. Well, I would have to do it for like half the children because they couldn't even do it, and they'd start getting frustrated, crying, and this and that. So I was the one that ended up opening half the puzzles. Yeah.
We don't do much puzzles over here, but we do Lego sets. And when we buy one, when my boys pick one out, like as soon as we walk in the door, we gotta bust it open and build it right now. You know, and those are, I like doing that type of stuff. And then even Eric, one of the Kakalaki crew guys, he sent us, because he has all kinds of sets that he built, and he sent us big old box of Legos. And man, like I'm telling you, we have thousands of pieces of Legos here.
Mhm.
Like you could build, like if he were to put all his little things together, it'd be like a little metropolis, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, I had some Legos, but that Zach the Lego Maniac commercial was out when I was young, and I like boycotted Legos at a very young age, and I went to Constructs. And
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
even think they're not around anymore. But yeah, I had like 10 different Construct sets, all in this big giant suit. Well, it was a giant suitcase to me. I was smaller. But yeah, it was huge. I could barely move the thing around. But it was just full of those Constructs pieces and stuff. And yeah, we used to build giant skyscrapers and then knock them over and stuff. We'd be Godzilla or whoever.
Yeah, Godzilla, dude. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I was like 12 years old watching the black and white ones, the originals, you know. I was a huge kaiju fan. I was all about some big monsters.
Yeah, there was this show. I grew up right around Chicago, and there's WPWR Channel 50, it was called. And it was bad. It was a lot of old stuff. And they had this one show called Spectre Man. And it was, I think it was from Japan with subtitles. And we used to just sit there and laugh at the stuff pretty much because their voices never matched.
Right.
We got a kick out of that so much. And all of a sudden, you know, a big giant monster would come attack, and then Spectre Man would run into an alley and do his little dance, and he would turn into this big, giant, huge, but it was just a guy. It was just him. It wasn't like he turned into a monster or a machine, get into a machine. He'd just grow real big and fight the monster. Yeah. And Godzilla was like the monster 50% of the time. You know.
I've never seen that. I gotta find that.
Yeah,
I was big into all the.
Go ahead.
I was big into all the Toho films. Mothra, Ghidorah, Rodan.
My little brother was big time too. He one time it was like a tornado warning. We were having a tornado. It went like 10 miles away from the house. We didn't see it or anything like that. I wasn't even there. And but my mom said my little brother, he was sitting there because the power was out and it was kind of dark. And my mom's trying to calm him down. And he's like, "Mommy, what if it's Mothra?" And like did the voice thing. And she just started cracking up. But yeah, he loved all that old stuff. See, I didn't see much Godzilla. I saw Godzilla fight Spectre Man all the time, but I never watched the Godzilla ones, the old Godzillas.
Well, they're terrible. They are terrible. And like they changed as the decades went on. Like, the first decade he was a bad guy. He was like an evil guy and an evil monster. And then the next one, he's the good guy and he's fighting all these other ones. Then the next decade, it was kind of comical. Like they would it'd be like really corny, and they'd like do dances and stuff. All of a sudden it'd be like they try to make it like comical, and yeah. It was cool though. I was a big fan of it. I thought it was cool how they had like because they built all these huge, like basically toy sets of like landscapes and buildings, and then a guy gets to come around like he's like in a suit and destroying the city, and like when you're a kid, when you're a child, you're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. Go play like that.
It's the beauty of sandcastles. You get to play like that. Build your sandcastle. Let the storm come, wash away, smash it all to hell. Build it up again. I did find it interesting, though, that your brother had sort of accepted the fact that it was real. What he saw on television was a possibility.
Yeah, a giant moth that is summoned by two tiny twins that do hula dances. And you sing her name, and then she comes flying out of a mountain. I thought that shit was real too.
But
she was the good guy. Good things were coming when Mothra was on the way.
It speaks to the
programming.
programming.
Some damage, but
I think it speaks to the programming and the power of that television and these stories. We grow up and we learn, oh, well, that's just television. That's not real. But I think there's still some part of a lot of us that sort of hold on to the fact that there's some part of that based in reality. I've dealt with that a lot in relationships with women that are upset that I don't quite meet the expectations of the man she sees on television. Those are the expectations to which she holds me, as if it's based in some sort of reality. And I think that there's a lot of people that, even in that small way, because it happened at such a young age, and we were just imprinted with these idiot boxes. And while we understand logically that, yes, it's fake and it's television and movies and it's scripted and produced and all that stuff, I still think that there's that thread from being a child that holds on in some strange way for a lot of us. Not everybody.
Yeah, when on a deeper level, when I'm thinking of, bringing up Godzilla and all that even I have that attachment to it still, because it takes me back to the time when I'm like 10 years old and I'm on the living room floor of our house up in Indiana. My parents, my sister, my brother, not a care in the world. It's like I hold on to those things because, my parents aren't around, my siblings, just one of them. It's like, those are like, I guess, some of those core memories that carry on with you,
Yep.
And there's movies that and things that trigger that, because through most of my childhood there was always a television on in the background or something. So and a lot of that, I was raised by that thing a lot, I was in front of it a lot, but there's a lot of good memories that come with certain things. And
I remember feeling so judged by my dad for being entertained by television and wanting to watch movies or cartoons. And he's like, read a book, go outside, go do something. It's an idiot box, just makes you dumber.
Yeah.
And I just assumed it was because,
come on, let's go. We got to go to the barn. Get out of here. Get off the damn game.
And maybe it was because we weren't reading or exploring or doing whatever kids should be doing instead of sitting in front of the idiot box, that he thought it would make us dumber because we're not using that time to learn. But I don't know that he realized that it was actively making us dumber and in training our brains to become programmed. I think if maybe he would have had that knowledge and tried to explain that to me, because I'm getting education on the TV. TV's teaching me stuff. I'm learning things. I'm picking up I'm an observer. I'm watching, I'm observing, and I'm picking up all sorts of information. I'm still learning. It's not like I need to read a book. But I did do a lot of reading as a kid still. And there's all of that nostalgia that Crow talks about that's wrapped up in those neural pathways that are laid down. And that's why pop culture references are so popular and make it so recognizable to a lot of people, because they all have that same neural pathway burned into their brain because of the television. Whether their parents sat them down and used it as a babysitter, or they would sneak off to their friend's house so they could watch it because their parents wouldn't let them. It's just going to be that way, unfortunately, as I sit here in front of a camera to be watched on little screens. Tiny glowing screens.
Everywhere. Yeah, I wonder how long it would take to adjust to not having electricity.
But 17 minutes, I think, would be my case. Like mentally, emotionally, or like physically. Like I need to take time to bust out the candles. Figure out what I'm going to do to heat myself in the wintertime. But I don't think it'd take me. Again, it's one of those.
I do tell my boys that what you said, like how, you know, I'm trying to tell my boys everything that my dad didn't tell me. Like just now when you were saying, you know, maybe like if he would have known and he would have told me, well, you know, in my head, it's like, well, that's why I'm telling my boys, you know, like, because I had that, it's like, man, if my dad would have told me that, okay, ding, I got to tell my boys that right now. So then I go and I tell my 9-year-old. So he's getting pumped with everything that I wasn't told, that I should have been told, or I should have known at a certain age. Like, and my boys, like my oldest, he's already pretty sharp. He's figuring things out. That's for sure.
He's definitely got a good attention span. That young man, he listens.
Yes, he does. He does listen. He absorbs everything.
Yeah, it was amazing. And he was one of the few children there that was like, "Hey, leave me alone. He's talking. I want to hear what he has to say right here." He was very adamant about not being disturbed by his little brother.
Right, yeah. His brother does bother him a lot.
He's like, hold on, he's talking. I want to hear this. I was like, wow, that's amazing for somebody that young to want to, you know, apply that much focus to anything an adult is saying about science, you know.
Thank you. That really makes me feel good to hear that, you know, because I wasn't around, and I would like for my son to, you know, don't just be a certain way around me. I want you to be you. And I know that's who he is. It's just good to hear that, you know. Lets me know I'm doing something right.
Yeah, that's why I gave him that hat. I was like, wow, this young man gets it. He's gonna.
Oh yeah, dude, he digs the hat, bro. For real.
Awesome.
He digs the hat. He's bothering the shit out of me on the way. He's like, Dad, he says we have to get it wet. We don't right now. I was like, as soon as we get home, we will do it. I promise. I was like, I don't want you to get it wet yet. No, wait till we get home. Yeah, he had a blast, man.
Will he become a solar return?
No, we're gonna try and go without. My wife wants to have fun. She says, because she was with the boys most of the time and going up to the,
That's a lot of work. That is.
right. She wants to come and hang out without the boys so she can get to know others better and stuff. So we're gonna go so for Flat Atlantic, we're gonna go without the boys. We're only like an hour or so away from there. Not even, I don't think. And then the next event we're not going. And my youngest is gonna be older now. So the idea of leaving him with like her mother or something isn't, because we don't leave, like we don't even let our boys stay the night at her mother's house, like the baby, like just because that's how my wife is. But he'll be older, so yeah, definitely wanting to come hang out with my wife without the children. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, it's amazing seeing these flat Earth families, man. It's a beautiful thing.
And they're full blown flat Earth. Like we'll just be having a normal discussion, right? And just something will be coming up. And like my youngest, he's trying to describe something to me the other day. And I really wasn't paying attention. I was cooking eggs at the same time, cooking up breakfast. And he was trying to, I forgot what he was talking about, something that he lost. And he was trying to describe to me what it looks like. He's like, it's flat, Dad, flat like the earth. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I started paying attention because I heard him say that. I'm like, what do you mean? What's flat like that? He's talking to me, but just stuff like that, like they know, you know what I mean? And then they know the stuff they see on TV isn't like, for example, there's this cartoon called Coco Melon that my baby likes to watch. It's like they teach them like the ABCs and the numbers and colors and stuff like that. But then there's this one episode where they teach them the planets, right? All the planets, what they're made of, stuff like that. And as soon as that episode starts, one of my two other boys will be like, oh, no, not this one. And they'll skip that. And I'm like, nope, that's not real. They'll be like, that's not reality, Gideon. Like, that's what my oldest will say. Like, that's not reality, Gideon. That's just stupid television. And then he'll like hit the next one.
That's awesome, dude. Watching out for his little bro. He gets it. Wow, just imagine how smart he's going to be when he's your age.
Right? I know. I say that all the time with my wife. Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm telling you, the next generation of us is going to be, I think, a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? Like, not the next generation per se, but the ones that are being raised by people like us.
Yeah.
And those, because I don't have a lot of hope for the next generation of people, but and that's the thing. I just trying to get my boys everything I can, that so they can navigate this realm as well as possible and lead a good, honest life, try to be a man with good morals and all that stuff. Like it's going to be hard for them to navigate this realm in the future with, what we see coming. So that's the biggest thing on my mind, man. It consumes me sometimes.
That's understandable.
I think that's going to wrap it up. According to the TFR clock, if we were on TFR, this would be right about the time we are wrapping up.
Yeah. Love you all.
Yeah, love you guys.
Thank you so much. Out. Austin. Beautiful stuff.
Man. Love you guys.
Hanging out. Walt. Hope you're feeling better.
Love you, Walt.
Some stuff coming. Lucas, Mission Man. Can't wait to see the yurt. Site and stuff going on out in Australia.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool. I'm really excited for the stuff Lucas is doing. John Bernards, we will talk to you Friday morning. We'll open up the phone lines, maybe get into a little bit more space lettuce. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll do my best to get my dates on screen set up before I go live. It was just a weird morning. Forgive me. Anyway, guys, be good, be well, think well. Love you. Bye-bye.